had been hoping for a second half recovery. A recovery by the end of the first half. That's not happening. Are you encouraged by some of the leading indicators?
Well, I think what we're encouraged by when you look at some of the kind of health metrics of the economy, it's basically telling us that things have stopped getting worse. In terms of deterioration in the economy. Actually, a number of the leading indicators are pointing towards improved conditions going forward. The question is, at what slope will that improvement happen? But things like consumer confidence, housing permits, the purchasing managers index, all those things that really get to the vital signs of a healthy economy. So, we've seen it stop deteriorating. Hopefully we'll start seeing some improvement. But we'll have to see. Our crystal ball is probably just as good as the Fed and other folks.
You think that the auto market has hit the bottom, though?
Well, I think it has. I think the last couple of months we've seen the retail industry stabilize in the low kind of 8 million SAR. We've seen the total industry kind of stabilize slightly below 10. From our perspective, I think it has bottomed out. The question is, at what point does it start turning positive?
What does July sales look like so far?
Well, it's still a little too early to tell because we have if you look at the last couple of months, the last 10 days of the month, the industry has either perked up or kind of weakened. And it's exacerbated this month by, the Cash for Clunkers program, which, the end of this week, the DOE is supposed to get the administrative guidelines out on that. So we're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be an exciting, I think, last 10 days of the month.
What are you expecting from the Cash for Clunkers to do for Ford only? Not the industry, but for Ford only?
Well, I think clearly what it will do is it's a positive signal for customers to come into the showroom, which there hasn't been many of those over the last couple of years. We were very, I think, aggressive in getting out a website where customers could go and actually see if their vehicle was eligible, and we can.
How much strain are you seeing on the supply base as they start to come back up for GM and Chrysler?
Well, so far we haven't seen any issues within our suppliers. The good news is that our plants are running normally. We don't see, at least what we know right now, anything on the horizon that would interrupt our production. But we're going to have to watch it as we have been, almost literally day by day, given the overall state of the supply base.
Are you still worried about that being a point of vulnerability?
Well, we're monitoring it daily, so clearly it's something that's on our radar screen in a big way because starting up those plants and getting folks back to work and getting the lines running again is always an important challenge for our suppliers and us.
You say you're cars.
Are these small cars going to sell with gas prices so cheap? Do we need a fuel tax? What's your outlook on that? We know what happens when fuel prices go up. But.
Well, it's really interesting, Rich, because when you look at the segmentation, even over the last 2 months, for example, if you look in B and C cars, the segmentation's actually going up. And I think, consumers, I think, rapidly came to the conclusion last year at this time when gas was $3.50, $4 a gallon. They know that gas prices are going to be volatile going forward, but the general trend is going to be more expensive. So when you talk to consumers, fuel economy is still in the top 3 kind of criteria that they're looking at. Whether they're purchasing a small vehicle or a large vehicle, fuel economy has become very important in their kind of hierarchy and how they make the decisions. So
Clunkers make up for the jump Ford expected to see due to the stimulus bill. Is this sort of your stimulus? Do you expect to see a stimulus in fleet? Do you see it in retail instead with Cash for Clunkers?
Well, it's still kind of a story yet to be told. We have our thoughts on this, and what we hope is that there'll be some uptick in the second half of this year. But we're going to have to see how the month of July comes in. Also continue to look at those kind of economic health metrics. But I think the good news is when you look at the first half between Cash for Clunkers and the stimulus that now is starting to find its way into the economy, there are more positives in the second half than there were in the first half.
How that's going to fit in the future lineup of Ford, and give us a rough estimate of what it might cost?
Well, we of course will talk more about pricing when we get closer to it, but it's all part of our whole electrification strategy. Obviously, that starts with the Transit Connect, which will come out next year. and then we'll come out with a Focus electric vehicle, so we'll be able to offer a small sedan, full electric vehicle, and then we're planning obviously a couple other vehicles after that. So that is really a very important kind of foray or introduction into electrification of our sedans.
Thanks, everybody.
Did you guys consider at all an incentive with cash for clunkers of your own?
Well, we have our normal, what we call, our incentives that are out there, and given the state of the marketplace, et cetera, we feel we have an appropriate level right now. When you combine that with the trade-ins that the Cash for Clunker
But
program.
the cash for clunker people are giving up their trade-in and only getting $4,500.
Well, it depends on the kind of car that they have. Clearly, in some cases, when a customer comes in, their actual resale value or trade-in value might be higher than the Cash for Clunkers incentives. And most customers, 9.5 out of 10 times, are going to take that higher value.